What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cali podcast. It's your host, Grimace.
And your host is Hello, baby. How's everybody doing today?
We hope you're doing amazing and well and joining us on this fine day. How we're just doing, and we hope you're doing amazing as always. And today we're just gonna talk about the crazy stuff that just be happening during your days. You never know.
Happens. That's what it means. It means that all day today, things were happening. Mostly poop things. Mostly SE crappy things that happened all day today.
Yeah, S happens, as Ismael puts it. Today was one of those days where everything that could go wrong could go wrong. And you know the kind of things where you spill your coffee on your shirt. You're taking pozole to the potluck. And then you slam on the brakes. So now there's pozole all over your front passenger seat. Because that's where you had the olla. And now it looks like, because you were cooking green pozole, not the typical red one. So now it looks like there's green alien blood everywhere because the green pozole spilled everywhere.
Especially green pozole on your driver's side seat because you just sharted all over yourself.
We didn't. Well, yeah, that's when it goes wrong. It goes wrong if you sharded all over yourself and you're transporting menudo pozole.
That happened to me not too long ago. I sharted all over myself. It was accidental. It's probably from all the, black drink, and I'm talking about coffee. I'm talking about soda. I had a black drink for a few drinks at the local Korean barbecue, and that's what happened to me.
What kind? So was it like a Korean barbecue flavored soda, or what kind of soda made you?
No, it was just Pepsi. There, I said it. Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Be careful with Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Yes.
Everyone's drinking Pepsi now. Would Coke do that to you, or was it just Pepsi?
I think it was the fact that I drank 3 of them like consistently.
Beer
doesn't do that to me, but Pepsi does apparently, especially after you have a big meal. Well, that wasn't my bad day. That was just an event from a bad day. But the bad day that I had was today. I woke up feeling in a tired mood, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna not get up early to go drive the 2 big rideshare companies, and I'm like, okay. So I didn't, and then I turned on my car and I started having the issues I've been having for the last 3 months.
Oh my gosh. You know what though? I feel you. It's like the universe decides to test your patience all at once. Like, this and that. I mean, me personally, I don't really like drinking soda, but I'm not going to lie. If I'm going to have a soda, I'm going to have like a Coca-Cola. I mean, and leave the politics all aside. A Coca-Cola and a pizza, or a Coca-Cola and a cheeseburger. Sometimes it just hits like authentically, like, But I understand all the politics that's going on. And, I live here in the States, America, California, where America, let alone California, where we're like,
not America,
one of the most gross domestic product producing states, which in other words,
top 4 in the entire world.
GDP. Long story short, means that we make.
Oh yeah, woo!
We supply.
Today
the most.
Today we ended the trade war with China.
The trade wars with China is over.
Officially over.
You know what? I do have this machine where I bought it from China, and I was getting product support from China. And honestly, the support technicians from China were kind of being like, I wouldn't say they were being disrespectful, but they were being like not so forthcoming. And I was like, you know what?
They're being a bunch of chachas. That's what they were being.
They were definitely being chachas.
Look that up. Chachi loves Joni. Joni loves Chachi. I hope
they don't see the podcast, but they definitely were being chachas. They were not being forthcoming.
I don't care if they watch the podcast. Do they speak English? Do they even understand English in China?
No, we communicate through this app called WeChat. It's like you have to be invited.
Never mind.
It's like a Chinese app where you have to be invited to speak on it. And they were being chachas. Like at first everything was good, and then the trade war started, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, I don't. In other words, they weren't helping me find the parts I needed to fix my machine.
Were they the ones that recommended that the U.S. has a second revolution? Was that the same?
No. That was on the segment.
That was on the last podcast, by the way, 21.
Yeah, no.
Don't forget to check out all our podcasts. We have 24 episodes up to now, but this is 25. But I don't even know what order this is going to come in because we're just playing Jumbotron right about now. Not Dumbo, but Jumbotron.
Yeah, definitely. Check out all the podcasts. But
Cali Podcast, streaming to you live on YouTube, Spotify, and we're going to come on other formats pretty soon. We're going to start bringing you shorts. Just keep an eye for that.
Yeah, but nonetheless, like our initial segment was, sometimes you just have one of those days, which I would, you know what? We've had the Blue Monday, which I checked out that song. It was an amazing song. I finally heard it. But this is not a Blue Monday. This is like a
Somber Monday.
What do you call it? No, S happens Monday.
S-E Monday. S-H-I, and it ends with Y.
And you know what?
Two T's in the middle.
Yesterday, I had a great Sunday. I didn't even drink alcohol like that because you know what? When I drink alcohol the next day, then yes, not necessarily a hangover, but I'm more lethargic, not in the mood. And yesterday, Sunday, I was not drinking like that. So I was like, oh, so I should have had a good Monday. And still, you know, I was feeling good physically, but there's this.
Okay, you didn't have a bad Monday like I did, but you had a crappy ass weekend because you found something out that happened to you, right?
Yes, but before I get to that, this Monday was still bad because I tried to walk over this fence because, okay, I have this man-made fence or really subpar
It's just a
fence.
cardboard. It's not a cardboard. It's an
a
actual piece of wood. Plywood, actually.
It's like a thigh-high.
The worst wood ever, man-made wood ever.
Nonetheless, it stops my dogs from going where I don't want them to leave the house. Normally, I just easily clear it, like, you know, just by stepping over it. Long story short, I tried to clear it. My back leg did not clear it. I ended up tripping over the back leg. And obviously, my body was expecting my back leg to step forward. There was no back leg to step forward. And I just so happened to have my cell phone in my hand. And I fell forward, and my cell phone hit me in the front lip. And now I have a big bruise on my front lip. And that made my Monday go bad.
It looked really bad earlier today.
It was really bad. It still is really bad. It'll probably be healed by Friday because from what I hear, the mouth heals really fast, which I love.
Lips.
And then when Ismael told me, he's like, you know what? Let's just talk about how today an Esca happened. I was like, you know what? I just did have an S kind of day. I cannot believe I fell and busted both my upper and lower lip. It was horrendous.
Yeah, it was really bad. It looked like a mosquito had pinched you in the lips.
This is true.
So like I said, I woke up. I didn't go driving. I had to go run an errand. And then I'm like, am I going to decide, okay, am I going to go to my regular job with the kids? Yes or no? Because that was a factor. I mean, I don't like missing work, but I had to miss the first 2 or 3 hours max. So point being is that I didn't go to work. And for the first 2 or 3 hours, I was over here after I said I'm going to be there at 9:30 a.m. so you can get this done because it's been pending and I was going to get it done today regardless because I was already coming over regardless. And we were going to shoot today. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, hopefully nothing will happen. I just had a feeling that it was going to happen sometime soon, but I kept putting it off. You know, it's like how it is, you know. There's a saying that goes, if you, it's in Spanish actually. El burro trabaja doble or something like that. The donkey works twice as hard or whatever the case is. But it's just, that's what I get for being complacent. And that's what happened. And so I had to call out of work after I realized that my issue wasn't going to get fixed right away because I had to throw money at it, of course, like everything else that's mechanical in your car. It sucks. You know, it's money that I don't have, but I had to make it up somehow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of things that you can't predict. A blown tire, overheating issues. You never know. And then, yeah, that's why we're saying. And it just so happened on a Monday, which is crazy because a Monday is like you're just coming back from the weekend. And it's crazy because on the weekend, nothing usually goes bad on the weekend. You know, you're just having a good time. You're going to go out to the beach. You're going to go out to the mountains and Big Bear or go party in Vegas or go to Italy if you're big ballin'. But then when you come back and you're done with all of that and then you come back to work on Monday and then you try to step over a fence and you trip over and bust your lip, or you try to go back to work and then you have a mechanical failure. That is some type of happens type stuff.
Okay, so I know we did talk about it in the last 2 or 3 podcasts, maybe in the last one actually, where we talked about the toll roads. I literally had to use a toll road because I was driving a rider for one of the big rideshare apps. And wherever I picked her up in Newport Beach, I had to drive her down to South Orange County. And the only way, because I was closest to the ocean, we were literally off of Fashion Island in Newport Beach or whatever it's called, that area. And I had to take the toll road. The whatever I got paid for that trip was only $15. And I'm sure that toll road toll fee is going to cost me at least $12 minimum. And I'm sure that basically that ride was for nothing because I should have not taken the ride, but I didn't. I usually don't pay attention to where the ride's going to go. And that was the second crappiest thing that happened to me today, where it's like, oh man, I'm going to make $3 off of the last trip. And then on top of that, I still had to drive 38 minutes back to here to shoot the podcast and not get any gas money coming back this way because it was already like 5:15ish by the time I dropped her off. And I had to be here by like 5:30 at the latest, but I got here till like 6:08 p.m. and I'm not going to waste more time. So the point is I felt really behind because of the last trip. And on top of that, I'm only going to make not even $2 or $3 out of it, like take home. And I still have to pay taxes on that, on all those trips, eventually. So point being is that I lost money on not working my regular job. I had to work, the 2 rideshare companies to make up for some of the money that I lost today that it didn't work. And I'm going to pay taxes on that money like big time or something like that, whatever the case may be. And it sucks. It's just a crappiest day ever because, it's like when it rains, it pours, It's like tell God your plans and he's going to laugh at you because, you plan on not spending any money, but you end up spending money. So it doesn't really matter what you plan on doing because nothing ever goes to plan. That's just the moral of the story, right? Eric? Grimace?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the moral of the story, but it is typically what's average. I mean, most of the time, you just want to plan for the best, but stuff does happen. Like me.
I don't like planning at all, period.
I mean, a lot of people don't like planning at all, but you need to plan. If you want, okay, basically from what I've heard, you got to plan for success, or what's it called? Plan for success. If not, then you're going to
plan for the best and expect the worst. Whatever, expect the best and I don't know, something like that.
There was one. It was like rhyming like that. I was like, if you got a plan for success, if not, then if you have no plan, then the plan for failure is gonna plan your failure, and you're not gonna success. It was catchy, but basically,
I woke up not having any expectations.
Exactly. If you do not plan, then guess what? There's gonna be a plan. It's just that you're not planning it, and it's not gonna be successful. So, long story short, you definitely want to plan and make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's, because the other day Ishmael tells me, hey, so what's up with this trip? He and I, we're going to go for this trip, for research purposes and whatnot, because we want to bring you the best entertainment and whatnot. And then I was like, you know what? Let me double check. He's like, what time is your flight leaving? And I double checked my flight, and I was like, oh my goodness. We booked the flight a whole month in advance to get the best rates. And then I go check my itinerary or emails, and then I see I booked the wrong dates. I was like, oh my goodness. We got a crazy ass good deal on the flight.
You did.
I did.
I got my flight off of free airline miles.
And who gives you these free airline miles? Give them the plug. Give them the plug.
I have them on all airlines except for, well, I'm already running out, but I'm going to fly United this time. But I already lost my status, so it really doesn't matter.
What do you mean, your status as an immigrant? Or
no, I lost my status as the fact that I used to have platinum or on different airlines diamond status, and I don't have that anymore. Now I'm going to fly like a regular commoner.
Like a commoner? Like a commoner,
folk? Yes.
You know what? I've flown in the back of an airplane, and guess what? It was a crazy girl. She gave no F's. You're right. On the back of the bus, this girl was like peeing when we were ascending. She was a mess. Nonetheless,
she was probably a junkie.
I wouldn't say a junkie, maybe an alkie.
Well, who knows? The point being is that I asked him to check his flight just to make sure that we were gonna basically leave like at a certain time to LAX because that's where we're flying out of. And then if I had to drop him off first, whatever the case may have been, because his flight was possibly earlier than mine, then I was just gonna make sure to drop him off in front of the terminal first, and then I was gonna go park because my light was a little later. But he checked and he checked that he had the wrong dates.
Yeah, it's literally the right times but the wrong dates, which I have no idea how that happened.
I know how it happened, but I'm not gonna say anything.
You know what? Okay, we know how it happened, but nonetheless, I should have double checked. I just assumed the emails were like, okay, confirmation. There's a reason why they send confirmation emails. I was like, oh my gosh. I did not check the confirmation emails.
Did you even get a confirmation email?
I did get a confirmation email. I checked it literally like a month later, 28 days later, not a whole month later. And I saw it was the wrong date. And then I see like my flight or my scheduled flight, book flight, took off the night before that I checked it. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, my goodness, this is horrendous. I did not book the flight for like this incorrect thing. It was just a total mess.
So it's money down the drain, basically.
Money down the drain. And I was like, really? Like, I just paid a flight that I did not board because I didn't make it on the right time, or it wasn't incorrectly.
You didn't pay attention to the details. That's what happened, honestly.
Yeah, and you know what? It was a lot of money. Well, at least in my books, it's a lot of money. And then just to let it go to waste, I think, honestly, that is not justice. I think, like, I remember seeing, like, what was it, in 2020 when we had President Joe Biden. I can't believe that fool was a president. Honestly, I mean, not to get political, that's kind of disrespectful to me as an American to have, like, someone like that representing the country. But, yeah, nonetheless, he was saying, like, you know what? I don't agree with these practices of concerts. I think he was, like, trying to...
You realize that the president now is older than Biden was when he first started office. You know that, right?
Okay, but that's not the point. The point is...
Well, you're talking about presidents.
Yes, because that same president, he was saying, I don't think it's right that concerts should be charging this or charging that. In other words, they were putting regulation on concert ticketing pricing. Okay. You know what? Music is important. I get you. Music is important. But you know what I think is more important than music?
So we're going off topic now?
You know what I think is more important than music? I think traveling rates and traveling regulations is more important than... I mean, I understand. I mean, you know what? I do value music. Don't get me wrong. But you know what I think is more valuable than music? Transportation. Transportation, I think, is more valuable than music. So for this guy to be valuing... Then again, I understand. You got to pick and choose your battles, I guess.
But nobody wants to come into this country now that we have this president because everybody's afraid that something's going to happen to them. And we're going to have the World Cup next year. What's going to happen? Are we going to have normal attendance or are we going to have very low attendance because of all the practices that this president's imposing on the country?
I mean, I feel you. But then at the same time, I don't feel you too much because I was born... I was born here. I was born here, so I can't really pick and choose about coming in and coming out. So I'm just talking about on behalf of, like, you know, I was already here. So it's just like...
But you mentioned travel, so I'm talking about travel too. I'm like, nobody wants to travel to this country because everybody's afraid they're going to get deported or something, and they're not from this country. They just want to visit.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they don't want to travel here, that's fine to me. Well, at least, I mean, I don't want to sound selfish or nothing like that. But as far as for me, it's just like, okay, are we going to prioritize traveling and fees? Like, you're going to give me all these fees? Like, I made a simple error, and now I lost my plane ticket. That doesn't make sense. I think more regulation should be put on the airline industry versus the music industry. I'm gonna go to a concert.
But the regulations are imposed on the airlines. Let's say the one that went into effect last year in 2024 is that airlines cannot charge you for picking and choosing a better seat that's closer to the front of the plane, because a lot of these, airlines were doing the same. But now it's a regulation that they can't do that.
What do you mean? They still send me emails or alerts like, come and pick and choose your seat. So what are you talking about? They can't do that no more.
A lot of airlines cannot. Maybe you're traveling the low budget airlines that can do that because that's what they want to do.
Well,
I'm talking about the major 4 airlines. The one that you travel on is not a major airline. Trust me, I know which one it is, because that's the only airline that I would never travel in. The 4 that I'm talking about: American, United, Delta, and Southwest. Those are the top 4 airlines. Now, that's what I mean about the major airlines.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll travel any airline that's got a good budget price. And, I mean, they legally could charge whatever they charge because clearly they're charging it. So, nonetheless, we try to go forth with it. And if they're allowed for it, I think there should be more regulation on it. Like, really, if there was an error made, then it's just like, oh, well, there goes your money. This is not the first time that I've had an issue with airlines. Back in around 2020, what are we, 12 years ago from now? Around 2013? Around 2000, maybe like 2012, 2011. Around 2011, 2010, same thing. I bought an airline ticket. I was supposed to go compete in this competition in Texas. It got canceled. I had already bought the airline ticket from American Airlines. It was about $400 in 2012, 2010.
Okay, 2012. 2012. Not 20,000. 20,000 is 200,000. 12.
Yes. 2012, 2010 dollars, $400 back then is maybe like $600 now. And then it was just lost because the competition got canceled. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to go fly no more. And they're like, okay, your airline ticket will be still good. 2 years later, I tried to get my airline tickets points redeemed. They're like, oh, sorry. It was only valued for 1 year. So your money just disappeared. I was like, that's messed up.
Yeah, but that's messed up. That's a general rule for any airline. You're allowed up to a 1 year for a credit. And if you don't use it, you snooze, you lose. That's just a plain and simple truth that's just how the airlines operate. Because that's a regulation that's across the board, a general guideline that if you are given a credit, you're supposed to use it within a year's time frame.
That's a lot of money, in my opinion, to just like let it lose like that. Like, you know what? Sleepy Joe Biden, that's the kind of stuff you should be regulating on instead of let me regulate on ticket prices for concerts.
Okay, you say
like, that. Really? For ticket concerts?
How do you regulate anything if you say that that's the case? I think I lied when I said not too long ago when we had the podcast episode about concerts. I said that I paid $180 for me and my wife to go see Luis Miguel in 2023. September 2023. I lied. I didn't pay that much. I paid $600 a pop to sit in the second row of whatever Toyota Arena. I paid $1,200 for both tickets.
That's insane. $600 a pop and like for $600.
It was
you get a good flight.
It was a washed up Luis Miguel.
Exactly. That's basically artificial intelligence at work.
But listen, if you're saying that Joe Biden regulated this and that, he didn't regulate anything because Bad Bunny charges $1,000 ever since after COVID. He started charging $1,000 a pop anywhere in the stadium, and people were paying that. Yeah. So how is that regulating anything? That's not true.
Basically, what Joe Biden was trying to regulate.
But it's like you say, it's fake news. It's fake news because that never happened. If I paid $600 for washed up Luis Miguel, that's not regulation anything.
It did happen, but you know what? This is the most sickening part. You know what? You're highlighting something that you're not even aware that you're highlighting. What you're highlighting is he's exploiting the youth to make it seem like he's fixing something. All he did was fix the fact that they're not going to be able to charge the ticketing agencies. Okay, so the fees will go up as high as they want. I think the only thing that they were able to regulate is like the hidden fees. Like you can't add like random hidden fees for like what do you call it, convenience fees. Basically that's how they regulated, which is not really much.
So the same way that this president conveniently said, and he ran on the promise that he was going to lower egg prices from $4 down to $2, but exponentially they went up 2.5 to $10 a case. So that's the type of regulations that you're talking about, because I don't see any politician being honest in any. Doesn't matter if it's a red or a blue one, because they do whatever they want, and they only answer to the people that give them money to win their whatever their promised races, and they don't care about the common people. They only care about making sure that they're gonna satisfy their whatever. I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. Bureaucrats or whatever. Bureaucrats. Sorry, whatever it's called. Anyways, keep going. What's the next topic? Because we did open that we had a bad day. You had a bad day paying for your ticket. Trust me, it's happened to me before where I couldn't use a credit for 1 year. I had a free credit and it was their mistake. But it's like, okay, well, what am I going to use it on? I'm not going anywhere. I did use it on one airline. On the second airline, I couldn't, because the year went and came and went, and I couldn't go anywhere because I had no ambition to go anywhere. So it does happen where, you're going to lose something. You better make sure that you have 1 year grace period to use it.
I mean, talking about the statistics, according to mightytravels.com, in 2025, major U.S. airlines have varying same-day change fees. For instance, American and United Airlines have increased their fees to $75 for confirmed same-day changes. Damn, $75 fee? I mean, see, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, okay, I get it. If you're flying, if like you're like me or like Ishmael or like all you other people that are watching our podcast, and you be traveling, going to Hawaii, going to Japan, like I understand we could afford $75, but if you break it down to like, well, I mean, at least me, I'm from Santana, $75, dude, that's basically $100. That's a lot of money. Just to charge like a fee, like $75 change fee. That's a lot. You're basically $25 shy of $100. And then look at JetBlue charges $100 for basic blue customers, while Southwest Airlines maintains a no fee policy for all fare classes. I can respect that. But then again, Southwest, when I was checking the airline prices, at one point, like back in 2017, Southwest was the best choice as far as price. But now Spirit and Frontier have kind of beat them at the low price. But they started losing people's bags and misplacing them and not arriving with their stuff. So they went downhill because of that race. Hey, things happen. Like I said, this episode about S happens. Crap happens. You have a crappy day. Crappy things are going to happen. So Southwest is for the carry-on. Because you know what? In my last 2 flights, I was just rolling with my personal item, which I don't have to worry about the carry-on. Okay, so we have a trip coming up. I mean, by the time this airs, it's probably going to be after the fact. But we have a trip coming up. We're both going to fly on different airlines. We're going to fly out of LAX. Point being is that I'm only going to take a backpack with 2 or 3 changes of clothing, and that's it. And that's my carry-on. I'm not going to carry anything else on because there's no point. And after that, okay, well, whatever. I don't know if I have to pay now that everything changed. My status changed. I'm probably going to have to pay extra if I want to take whatever. I mean, I could get a checked-in bag, not being checked in, but checked in for free if I wait and they say, okay, if they announce to make space on the overhead compartments, make sure that you check in your bag free of charge. And I always wait for that, but I don't have that issue since we're only leaving for a couple of days. More like 48 hours at the very most, right? We're leaving on Friday night. We're going to get back on Sunday afternoon. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to get back till like Monday, after midnight or something like that. Yeah, it's basically a weekend that we won't return to, or at least reconvene. I mean, at that point, you just want to be able to like touch down. I mean, like you said, you have your change of clothes and whatnot and the luggage, so that should be enough to cover it. Well, I mean, I got a free rental through one of the rental car companies. I'm not going to say which one. They don't give us any money to promote them. But
I've had that for over a year, maybe 2 years at the most. I have to use that credit. If not, I'm going to lose it or whatever the case, points. A free rental. And he's going to do his thing. I'm going to be available for 4 hours. I'm probably going to lounge. I'm probably just going to travel to see the sights. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be in Atlanta area. And my point is that if anybody has any recommendation, this podcast is not going to come out, but before then, hopefully it does. I'm going to try to put it out. But if anybody does, I'll be more than glad to accept any recommendations or any comments in the comment section. We do appreciate those. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You're listening to the Cali Current Podcast, and you're watching on YouTube and Spotify.
And make sure you let everybody know that you're watching the best in the podcasting business from Santana.
Yeah, so point being is that we all have crappy days. Like I said, when it rains, it pours. When you think that things are going to get better or you're not going to have any issues or any foreseeable issues, S happens. It does happen to all of us. Like I said, I've charted myself, so S does happen. And just to elaborate on that a little bit, just because I don't want to go back on that, I don't want to be gross about it. After that, I couldn't go anywhere. I had a sort of grin and bear it. So I had to go to the restroom. I had to basically finish doing my business because it was going to come out. And I had to clean my pants. I technically walked around with a stain. So what I tried to do is pull up my pants as much as I could. Like high waters or whatever the case might have been. And I try to conceal the fact that I had charted myself. So don't let it ever happen. Don't let that happen to you. If anything, I could recommend like just walking around or having some in the car. I mean, not because, I feel old or anything. Yeah, I'm almost 50, but it doesn't mean I'm ancient. Carry your own diapers or Pampers or whatever, pull-ups. I don't know, whatever. I don't expect it to happen, but it can happen. It doesn't happen to anybody. It happens to me, but it doesn't happen to anybody.
If it happened to him, it can happen to anybody. So long story short, pull your pants up, pull your things up, pull your diapers up. I mean, we're just trying to look out for the best of everybody.
I had to toss my underwear, by the way. I had to literally get my underwear because I couldn't. I'm not going to change underwear. I was at one of those retail consignment stores, secondhand consignment stores where everything goes. If it doesn't go there, it's going to go to, I don't know, who knows what. It's one of the big ones and starts with an M. And I could have easily bought me some underwear since I was there already, but I didn't because I chose not to.
Yeah, so first of all, always double check your booking details before confirming. That's a big mistake. That's like a $300 mistake I just recently made, honestly. I did not confirm my booking details for booking.
I thought it was like 120,
300. It's horrendous, but you know what? It's going to be well worth it. I'm going to make it well worth it at this point.
Well, we already had plans more than a month ago to go, and
yeah,
you didn't want to miss it regardless, so it's worth it.
I wouldn't mind missing it, but you know what? At this point, I
could have canceled everything. It would have been cheaper just to cancel everything.
At this point, it would have been cheaper. It would have been cheaper to cancel everything, but I was like, you know what? I was going to tell you earlier. I was like, you know what? If you didn't go, I would have probably just canceled it and booked and jibbed out. But since you already pot committed, and I was like, you know what? Ease my ass, pot committed. Let's run it.
I wasn't gonna go with you too. I whatever. I agreed because the first time they invited me like 3-4 months ago, I didn't go. So this time I'm like, whatever. It's May. It's a nice month. I don't want to be, I don't know when was the last time you went? Like in February, right? How was the weather back then? Was it all right or what?
It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty decent. I mean, just as of recent, the weather's been getting crazy. Like this past weekend, it was hot as F, and then now today, all of a sudden, it's chilly at night. Like I'd wear a sweater when I was out.
No, I'm talking about over there. Not talking about here. I'm talking about over there.
I haven't really checked the weather over there. Honestly, I only check the weather when I go out there.
Okay. Well, point being is that I decided to go this time, and I'm like, well, it's up to you if you want to cancel. I don't mind if you cancel.
Yeah, the last time I went, it was like a mid raining, but not like a heavy pour.
Well, anyways, thank you very much for being here at the Cali Current Podcast. Your host Ish,
and your boy Grimace.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It does go a long way. We do greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much for being here. If you have any future recommendations and or for comments for any type of future podcast you want us to do, please be more than grateful, and we'll be able to take any and all suggestions. Thank you very much. Take care. Peace. We love you, and we want to make sure that you're going to be here on a weekly, consistent basis.
Yeah, and if not, we'll let you know. Stay in for the subscribes, the contests, and it'll just be a good time. Come on in, baby.
Thank you very much. Summer's coming, and make sure to stay cool out there, okay?
And hot. Goodbye.